Being an NBA superstar is not just about knowing all the rules, shooting percentages, and doing whatever the coach says. What makes a player truly remarkable is star power, the kind of presence that will make any opponent tremble from before they've even stepped on foot to the court. It's the kind of stuff sports movies and documentaries are made of. But throughout history, there is always an NBA player who has proved that something so powerful and awe-inspiring can happen in real life too. So today we're going to be taking a look at NBA players who have destroyed a basketball rim with their thunderous slam dunks. But before that, a simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's all your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. First is Kevin Love. Long before Kevin Love started playing for the Minnesota Timberwolves, he was already a huge force to reckon with as the high school baller in Putnam High. Being so much bigger than the rest of his peers, young Kevin Love was able to dominate both ends of the court back then. The other team's point guard was having a hard time getting the basketball inside the paint, and Love saw a golden opportunity for a fast break steal. So what do you do when you have a wide open look at the basket and no one's there to give you trouble for it? That's right, you dunk. So he did, and along with the dunk went the entire backboard as shattered into a million tiny pieces of glass. It's a pretty cool sight and was probably the most impressive thing those teens have seen in their lives, but apparently not everyone was impressed. Love revealed in interviews later that his high school tried to bill his family for the broken backboard. Of course, they refused to pay. No one should get away with having subpar sports facilities that put their students' safety at risk and then getting paid back when it gets broken. Fortunately for the school, officials decided to upload the video of Love's backboard-shattering dunk on YouTube. It has since breached 1 million views, so I guess that incident has already paid for itself. Next is Brian Reeves. Here's another NBA player who already had a rim-breaking history even before stepping foot in the NBA. Big country Brian Reeves made it rain in Oklahoma State's first on-site practice for the 1995 NCAA tournament. The Cowboys were doing a pretty good standard drill where the players would catch a pass off the backboard and try to slam it down for the dunk. While most other players took it easy with their standard slam and jam, Reeves decided to one-up everyone else with a reverse, which ended up with the entire backboard going down with him. Reports say his teammates had to remove pieces of shattered glass from his neck after this awesome incident. But that's not even the craziest part. It's actually the event that launched the ESPN title. The first ever media text on ESPN.com was a video of Big Country breaking that backboard in 1995. That was how the world-renowned sports website debuted. Now the media outlet is as big as it gets for sports sites, and Big Country still holds the bragging rights over helping the brand launch. Reeves now has 2 sons, who can walk anywhere with heads held high knowing it was their father who made that happen.
Big Country brought the house down near the end of practice.
Next is Chris Morris. Now, this one happened in an actual NBA game, even though some say it's not as impressive as the ones I mentioned earlier. You can be the judge. It was a pretty standard matchup between the New Jersey Nets and the Chicago Bulls, but one play woke the bored crowd up from their slumber. Nets forward Chuck Morris received a beautiful no-look pass from Tate George, which he sent home with a 2-handed slam jam. And while the glass didn't shatter, it splintered into something that resembled an intricate spiderweb, and the crowd went wild. You can hear the commentators comparing Morris's monster dunk to that of Shaquille O'Neal's, but to this day, Shaq's fans are adamant that it never even came close. Watch until the end of this video to see what the hype is all about, since we're going to be talking about the many times the Shaq monster destroyed rims later on.
Back by 10. Tate George with the hard drive to Morris.
Jason Keep is next. You know, NBA players don't really get extra points for dishing out monster slams that break backboards. The best thing they can get out of it is a self-esteem boost and a hyped-up crowd. Well, at least aside from a few minutes of rest while officials scramble to have the rim replaced. It's a very important thing that players at least feel a whole lot more pumped up after plays like these. And that's exactly what made Jason Keep's glass-shattering dunk such a joy to watch. This one took place in the NCAA when Arkansas Little Rock was down 8 points with 43 seconds left on the game clock. They needed something big if they were to change the course of the game with such little time left to play. Unfortunately, towering over the opposing Oklahoma State team was Jason Keep, who was able to steal a pass for a breakaway dunk. He was able to fish one defender who hung onto him as he went up, adding the weight that the rim could just not withstand. Keep can be seen pumping his fists after this sequence, obviously very pleased with himself for achieving such a rare feat. Next up is Jeremy Lane. You know you did something wonderful when a play you executed landed on ESPN's 100 Greatest Sports highlights, right? I think rightfully so. Everybody still remembers the "send it in, Jeremy," but I think at least half of this point should be credited to the flawless assist by Sean Miller. The '88 Pitt Panthers have always been a well-choreographed team. and this play worked perfectly for them. It's important to note that in this breakaway setup, Miller had 3 open shooters right in front of him, and he had to decide in a snap which finisher to swing the ball to. After the glass-shattering dunk, though, Lane revealed in an interview that he already knew he was going to do a slam dunk if that ball ended up in his hands. The rest, as they say, is history. The most remarkable thing about this dunk is that the most rim-destroying shots are executed with both hands, slamming on that basket with full force. But Lane just needed his dominant hand to punch a gaping hole into that board. The basket hung like crazy after Lane was done with it. Absolutely incredible.
Lane's on the other wing. He finds
Next, we have Darvin Ham. Game commentators are paid to never run out of words when covering a game. So when you render them speechless, you know you just did something historic. In 1996, Darvin Ham accomplished this rather once-in-a-lifetime achievement by demolishing the backboard with a 2-handed slam. The game was between Texas Tech and North Carolina, and it was a close one. Well, until one of Ham's teammates missed on a difficult layup, but he was there to clean it up. Now, on top of that, he did leave something for maintenance to clean up too, 1,000,000 shards of the broken backboard. Not only was it a highlight play because of his sheer power, but that one play tied the game and swung the momentum in favor of the Red Raiders. With so much energy and adrenaline, they went on to win the game and made it to the Sweet 16, thanks to Darvin Ham. Darryl Dawkins is up next. Breaking the rim or the backboard once in your career is already an incredible feat. We can't believe someone actually managed to do it twice, all within 3 weeks. Darryl Dawkins, the 76er star who's come to be known as Sir Slam, Dr. Dunkenstein, and of course, Chocolate Thunder, had his first broken rim on November 13th, 1979, during a game against the Kansas City Kings. 3 weeks later, he let the San Antonio Spurs experience the same thing. Funny thing, after his second explosive dunk, the NBA came up with a new rule, that breaking a backboard will be meted out with a fine and a suspension.
This is the commissioner. I want you to stop doing it. It's going to be $5,000 every time you do it.
Together, these incidents led to some major design changes in the way that they make backboards. Had it not been for Dawkins and his monster back-to-back deadly shots, we wouldn't be using the breakaway board we're using today. What a legend. Next is Michael Jordan. Watching this video, if it was Michael Jordan, he would probably be like, yeah, that's impressive and all, but do any of these players have a pair of Nikes created to commemorate their backboard incident? That's right. 30 years after MJ broke the backboard in an exhibition game in Italy, Nike released a shattered backboard Air Jordan 1s to commemorate the incident. Although the Black Cat went on to have hundreds of other celebrated moments in his career, this one remains to be one of the highlights. Not 1 inch of the giant backboard was spared from the impact of Jordan's dunk, and 2 other defenders had to have glass shards taken out of their heads. Well, at least they can tell their descendants that they once got dunked on by MJ. Chuck Connors is up next. Of course, we can't talk about the greatest, most destructive dunks of all time without mentioning the first player who ever broke the rim with the immense power of his slam. Of course, I'm talking about Chuck Connors. It has been 74 years since the NBA saw its first shattered backboard, which didn't even happen in the middle of the game. Yeah, that's right. Celtics forward Chuck Connors made that board explode during warm-ups. Imagine how warm he actually was when the game started. Ha, get it? Warm up. Yeah, never mind. Next is the monster Shaq. And finally, we talk about Shaquille O'Neal. If you're wondering why NBA players nowadays seem to have a much more difficult time breaking rims with their dunks, well, then this is the guy to blame. In the 90s, the league had to adjust the strength of their baskets many times, because when Shaq would unload all 300 pounds of himself, no backboard stood a chance. During his rookie season, Big Daddy already broke 2 scoring posts. The first was a put-back dunk against Phoenix that didn't even break the backboard, but challenged the very foundations of the basket post. Those watching live could not believe their eyes as the basket and its entire supporting system started to fold like an accordion. Weeks later, in a game against the New Jersey Nets, Shaq nearly hurt himself pretty bad as the shot clock came falling down towards him after he pulled the entire backboard down during a dunk. That was just the beginning of Shaquille's entire career of lashing out against basketball rims, backboards, and even the foundations that support them. Really, the NBA had such a hellish time coming up with boards that were always stronger than the last one that Shaq broke. Until they rolled out the same design that's being used now, the kind that even Dwight Howard couldn't break. So, there you have it. People pay good money to be able to watch these shows live, so in many ways, playing the NBA can be considered a performance every time. And you'd best believe, the only basketball players who will get remembered are those who put on a good show. There are many ways to be remarkable. You can get 5 rings for your team, be the best rookie in your generation, or dominate the NBA's top plays for 14 weeks straight. These are the orthodox methods to leave a legacy behind. And then there are the unorthodox methods. Like, destroying NBA property with your sheer strength. We've seen it all. Point guards who crashed into the announcers' tables, defenders who dived into barriers going after loose balls, and all that. But one of the most enjoyable occurrences to witness is when NBA players manage to break the rim or the backboard with their monster dunks. So, thanks for watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed it.